Close your eyes for a moment and listen not with your ears but with your being. The world you see around you is not fixed. It is clay, and you are the potter. It molds itself to the image you hold within. You win not by force nor by struggle, but by focus, pure, unwavering, faithful focus. Where your attention goes, your world follows. If you continually entertain thoughts of lack, life will oblige you with more lack. If you dwell in the awareness of abundance, the gates of provision open. The great illusion is thinking the outer world moves first. It does not. The outer is the echo, the shadow, the delayed mirror of what you are steadily focused on within. Do not ask, when will it happen? That question belongs to the one who is focused on the absence. The moment you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you have already won. You have stepped into the scene where it is done, and that scene must play out. You do not have to manipulate people or beg the world. The world is yourself pushed out. When you change your focus, you change the script. If you focus on peace, peace becomes your companion. If you focus on love, love begins to seek you. If you focus on being chosen, life arranges itself so that you are chosen again and again. But you cannot serve two masters. You cannot say you believe and then entertain doubt. You cannot say you are healed and still cling to the symptoms. Choose this day whom you will serve, your fear or your faith. Withdraw your attention from what you do not wish to continue. Let it wither. Let it die by starvation. Then turn your gaze with conviction to the world you want. Water it with your attention. Nourish it with your imagination. Saturate it with your inner speech. And when doubt comes knocking, and it will, you do not open the door. You return to the state where the outcome is already true. You see, you don't attract what you want. You attract what you focus on with emotional certainty. And in that focus, in that single pointed vision, you become magnetic. What you focus on, you win. Imagination is the foundation of reality. There is no outer world that exists independent of your inner world. Everything you see, touch, and experience was first imagined. Before a building stands, an architect envisions it. Before a book is written, a writer sees it play out in the theater of their mind. Your life is no different. It is not chance or luck or fate that has sculpted your experiences. It is your imagination, whether you have used it consciously or not. What you consistently focus on in your inner world becomes the form and substance of your outer world. The thoughts you entertain most, the scenes you replay, the inner conversations you carry throughout your day, they are not meaningless. They are seeds. And like any seed, they grow in time, producing fruit after their own kind. You do not plant a fig tree and expect oranges. Likewise, you do not plant thoughts of fear, lack, rejection, or unworthiness and harvest peace, abundance, love, and purpose. The law is just. It gives you exactly what you have accepted as true within. Most people do not realize they are using their imagination all the time. They believe they are reacting to life, when in truth they are creating it with every reaction. When you imagine the worst, expect the worst, dwell on the worst, you create a path for the worst to arrive. But when you begin to take control of your inner world, when you dare to imagine the best, even when the outer world suggests otherwise, you invoke a higher power. You awaken the creative force that reshapes circumstances to match your inner conviction. There is no power outside of you shaping your life arbitrarily. It is your sustained attention, your inner focus, that determines what materializes. You must learn to be deliberate with what you give life to in your mind. Every image, every word you speak inwardly, every feeling you accept without question. These are not idle things. They are acts of creation. Imagination is not some child's game or fleeting fantasy. It is the workshop of reality. The inner scene you rehearse repeatedly is the blueprint, and just as surely as the sun rises, what you accept and feel to be true within will express itself without. Life is not responding to what you want. It is responding to what you believe. And belief is nothing more than imagination sustained. So, if you wish to change your life, do not run around trying to fix everything on the outside. Do not chase results or people or circumstances. Instead, turn inward. Ask yourself, what am I consistently imagining to be true? What am I focusing on when I am alone? What scene do I replay when I think of my future? These are the answers that matter. If your inner world is chaotic, your outer world will mirror that chaos. But if your inner world is rich with clarity, peace, and confidence, the outer must follow. Begin today to imagine better. Hold in your mind the image of the life you wish to live. See it clearly. Feel it deeply. Return to it often. And without effort, your reality will begin to reshape itself in the likeness of your focus. That is the law. Feeling is the secret. Thought alone is not enough. It is the emotion behind the thought that gives it life, weight, and direction. You can say 1,000 affirmations, picture endless visions in your mind, but if they are not felt, if they are not soaked in conviction and belief, they are empty, powerless shells. The world does not respond to your words, it responds to the feeling your words carry. It is not enough to merely think of what you want. You must feel as though it is already yours. The emotion behind your focus is the fuel. Just as a fire needs heat to burn, your imagination needs feeling to create. Focus without emotion is like a car without gas. It may have structure, but it has no movement, no energy to bring you to your destination. When you combine focused thought with deep, sincere feeling, you create an inner reality so rich and alive that the outer world cannot help but conform to it. Neutral focus produces neutral results. Many people wonder why their affirmations do not work, why their visualizations yield no change. It is often because they are going through the motions. They speak the words, they see the scene, but they do not feel it. They say, I am wealthy, while feeling uncertain. They imagine love while feeling lonely. In doing so, they give mixed signals to the creative power within. The subconscious is not moved by logic or repetition alone. It is moved by feeling. It responds to what you accept as true, emotionally and internally, whether that truth is empowering or limiting. But passionate, faithful focus produces transformation. When you feel something deeply, you impress it upon your inner self. The feeling of already being what you desire to be is the very key that unlocks the door. It is not the condition that brings the feeling. It is the feeling that brings the condition. The world mirrors back to you what you believe to be true in your heart, not what you merely hope for with your lips. This is why you must live in the end, not physically but emotionally. You must enter the state of the wish fulfilled and feel it real. When you close your eyes and imagine, do not do so as a spectator. Enter the scene, touch the objects, hear the sounds, breathe the air. Most importantly, feel the joy, the peace, the satisfaction, as if it were happening now. Let your entire body respond to the reality of it. That feeling is the signal. That is what sends the message to your deeper self that this is real, this is now, this is done. Nothing changes until you change your feeling. You cannot fake it with empty words or shallow thoughts. But the moment you change your inner vibration, when you feel abundant instead of desperate, loved instead of rejected, powerful instead of helpless, you shift your entire world. Feel your way into the life you desire. Become the person who already has it. Let that feeling guide your thoughts, your actions, and your assumptions. And in time, the outer world will catch up with the inner. The feeling you nurture and sustain becomes the reality you live. This is the secret that has always been hidden in plain sight. Feeling is the creative force, the true key, the doorway to all change. Guard it, master it, use it well. You cannot serve two masters. Within you lies the power to shape your world, but that power demands loyalty. It cannot operate in confusion or contradiction. To serve two masters is to try and walk two opposing paths at once, one toward faith and one toward fear, one toward fulfillment and one toward doubt. And when you divide your mind, you dilute your energy. The result is stagnation, frustration, and delay. Nothing moves because you are moving in two directions at the same time. Divided attention weakens your creative power. Your consciousness is not a casual observer. It is the cause of everything you experience. But it must be aimed. Just as light becomes a laser when focused, your inner power becomes transformational when concentrated. If your thoughts are scattered, your results will be scattered. If your focus shifts between desire and disbelief, your reality will reflect that indecision. Many try to affirm what they want while secretly fearing it won't happen. They imagine the best but rehearse the worst. They pray for abundance but expect delay, and in doing so they split their allegiance. One moment they dwell in possibility, and the next they drown in contradiction. The creative force within does not know which seed to grow, so it waits. It mirrors not your words but your dominant feeling, your true master. Focused consciousness is singular and unwavering. It does not negotiate with appearances. It does not plead with the world to change. Instead, it rests fully in the assumption that the desired state already exists. It refuses to be pulled back into the old story. It remains fixed, steady, immovable, regardless of what the outer world tries to say. This is not about blind denial. It is about spiritual discipline. When you choose to believe in your vision despite contrary evidence, you are not ignoring reality. You are creating a new one. You are declaring that your inner world is the cause and the outer world is merely the effect. And when you hold that inner vision with total faith, the outer must bend. It has no choice. You must decide what you serve. Will you serve your dream or your doubt? Will you serve what is possible or what is probable? Will you serve the voice that says it is already done or the one that says it's too late? You cannot serve both. You must choose one and then live as though that choice is final. This is why true manifestation requires inner clarity. You must know what you want and give your entire being to it. Your thoughts, your emotions, your assumptions. You must become one with the state you desire as though there were no other reality. That unity of focus is what draws unseen forces to work in your favor. It is what opens doors, changes minds, and bends circumstances. So the next time doubt creeps in, remember this: it is not the world that is uncertain. It is your attention that has wavered. Return to the vision. Anchor yourself in it. Speak to it. Feel it. Live in it. Make it your only master. Only then does your world align. Only then does your power rise. Only then do you realize the truth. Divided minds delay, but focused hearts create. Assume the state of the wish fulfilled. That is the key. Not hoping, not begging, not waiting, but assuming. To assume is to believe, to accept as true. To walk in the certainty that what you desire is already yours. This is not pretense or fantasy. It is the creative act of faith. And in this inner movement, reality begins to shape itself around your inner conviction. You are not waiting for the world to change. The world is responding to the change within you. To win, you must mentally live in the reality where you already possess the outcome. Your senses may tell you otherwise, The world may scream that nothing has changed. But if you accept that outer appearances are simply the echo of former thoughts, then you understand the truth. Change happens first within. The moment you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you have entered the new state, and everything else must conform to it. This is why you cannot dwell in lack while trying to manifest abundance. You cannot cling to loneliness and expect love to show up. You cannot identify as a struggler and hope for success. Your inner world must match the condition you desire. You must feel the reality of it so clearly that it becomes natural to you. That feeling, that assumption, is the seed. And just as a seed planted in rich soil produces fruit after its kind, so does your assumption bring forth its manifestation. Many people ask, how long will it take? But the better question is, how long will you persist in the assumption? The outer world is slow to respond, not because the power is weak, but because the mind keeps wavering. One moment it accepts the new state, the next it falls back into the old. This back and forth delays the harvest. But once the assumption is fixed, once it becomes your dwelling place, not just a passing thought, the world begins to shift. You must feel from the end, not toward it. Do not imagine yourself wanting, imagine yourself having. Do not imagine the path, imagine the destination already reached. What do you feel? What do you see? What do you hear in that place where it is done? That feeling, saturated with confidence and peace, is the magnet. It draws the unseen into the seen. The assumption must be so alive within you that you no longer question it. You don't wonder if the sun will rise tomorrow, you expect it. You don't doubt your breath will come, you live as if it already has. That same certainty must be applied to your desire. It is done. You are it. There is nothing more to get, only more to realize. This is not arrogance. It is spiritual alignment. You are not forcing the world to obey you. You are aligning with the truth of who you are. You are a creative being, born not to react to life, but to direct it from within. And the only focus that bears fruit is the focus that is sustained by assumption, not doubt. So assume the state now. Enter into the joy, the gratitude, the peace of the one who already has. Let that be your secret dwelling. Let it color your words, your choices, your energy. And soon the world will reflect what you have dared to believe in silence. Your attention is your most sacred currency. More valuable than money, more powerful than action, your attention determines the shape of your world. Where your attention goes, your energy flows, and what you continually energize, you breathe into form. You are not merely a passive witness to life. You are a creative force. And the spotlight of your awareness is the tool by which you sculpt your reality. Nothing grows in your life unless you have in some way nourished it with attention. What you give your awareness to, you give life to. This is not symbolic, it is law. If you constantly observe lack, speak of it, feel it, and worry over it, you invite it deeper into your world. If you rehearse limitation in your mind, it becomes more real to you than opportunity ever could. This is how people unknowingly build cages around themselves, not with chains, but with focus. What you focus on expands, whether it is wanted or not. Your inner world responds to your dominant attention, not to your fleeting hopes. To master your life, you must become the guardian of your attention. You must notice where your mind habitually drifts and consciously guide it back to what you desire. Every thought is a seed, and your attention is the water. You cannot afford to water weeds and expect roses to grow. It is not enough to occasionally imagine the good. You must withdraw your life force from what you do not wish to experience. Withdraw from what you do not wish to see grow. Do not feed your fears with stories. Do not energize pain with repeated focus. This does not mean denial. It means discipline. It means choosing not to dwell in the states that do not serve your highest vision. It means you stop identifying with what drains you and begin aligning with what uplifts you. You must starve what you wish to vanish and feed only that which you want to flourish. There is great power in refusal. When you no longer engage with doubt, when you no longer participate in the mental theater of limitation, you take your energy back. You stop propping up the illusions that keep you small. And as your attention begins to orbit around possibility, peace, love, and abundance, those things take root and begin to manifest. This practice is not always easy. The world constantly shouts for your attention, news, opinions, fears, distractions. But you must ask yourself, what am I empowering with my focus? What future am I creating with the things I continually think about, talk about, and emotionally react to? That question is sacred. It determines the course of your life. Your attention is the builder of worlds. With it, you can construct a reality of beauty, purpose, and fulfillment, or one of doubt, struggle, and fear. But the power is always in your hands. Choose wisely. Let your focus reflect not the world you see, but the world you intend to create. You need not fight what you don't want. Just stop feeding it. Let it wither in your absence. Turn instead to your vision, your dream, your highest self. Keep your awareness there. Saturate your mind with it. Return to it again and again until it becomes the only truth you recognize. Your attention is sacred. Treat it as such. Persist regardless of the evidence. Do not be deceived by what your senses show you, for the physical world is not the source of your reality, it is merely the echo. Every circumstance, every event, every condition you see around you is the delayed shadow of a previous state of consciousness. It is not the cause, but the result. And to become a conscious creator, you must understand this timeless truth. The world bends not to your effort, but to your assumption. And assumptions take time to mature in form. It is tempting to look at your current situation and accept it as fact, to say this is just the way things are, and allow the evidence to dominate your belief. But doing so is to surrender your creative power to appearances. It is to forget that what is seen is temporary, and what is unseen, your inner conviction, is eternal. The outer world does not respond instantly because it follows the rhythm of gestation. Like a seed planted in the soil, your assumption must be nurtured through time, patience, and unwavering attention. Maintain focus. Do not plant the seed today and dig it up tomorrow to see if it's growing. Do not affirm your vision for a moment and then abandon it at the first sign of contradiction. Reality does not change because you wish it to. It changes when your inner state becomes immovable, when you persist in the unseen regardless of what is shown. The world will test you, not to punish you, but to see if you truly believe. Those who manifest are not those who never doubt. They are those who return again and again to the vision within. They feel from the end, not the middle. They see beyond appearances. When the bank account looks empty, they still assume abundance. When love feels distant, they still live from the feeling of being cherished. When the body feels weak, they embody vitality in their imagination. And slowly, surely, the world catches up to the inner truth. This is not about ignoring reality, but about choosing the reality you wish to embody. You are not a puppet of circumstance, you are the author of it. And persistence is the ink. You must write your story not once, but continually. Every time you imagine the wish fulfilled, you strengthen the bridge between the inner and the outer. Every time you hold fast to the desired state, even while reality remains unchanged, you deepen your alignment with the truth you have chosen. The mistake most make is reacting to appearances. They assume what they see is final, but nothing you see is final. It is old news. The current picture is a photograph of your past thoughts, your past emotions, your past focus. If you don't like it, change the film, change the frame, shift your attention and hold it. Be unmoved by delay, be loyal to the unseen. The world will bend, it must, it is law, but it will only bend when you refuse to bend. When you stand in your assumption with quiet certainty, the evidence will eventually align. Until then, persist, not with force, but with faith, not with struggle, but with stillness. That is the secret. The real world is the one you dwell in within. All else will follow. What you focus on, you win. This is the unshakable truth. Your inner world is not a passive playground. It is the architect of your life. Each thought, each feeling, each assumption is a blueprint. What you consistently dwell upon, you build. You are not subject to the outer world unless you give it your power. The law is simple and certain. Hold the vision, feel it real, and persist until it hardens into fact. Do not waver. Do not negotiate with appearances. The world bends to the focused and faithful. You are not here to chase or beg or wait. You are here to choose. Choose the state. Assume the end. Withdraw your attention from what you do not wish to see and pour your energy into what you love. Let your attention become sacred. Let your imagination become holy ground. If you can hold the state within, the world must reflect it without. This is the path of those who create deliberately, live consciously, and win silently. Thank you for walking this path of inner mastery. Thank you for choosing to see with the eyes of faith. Stay focused, stay still, and remember, it's already yours.
Imagine for a moment that money no longer dictates your choices, your actions, or your aspirations. Pause and ask yourself, what if money was no object? How would you live? What would you pursue? And who would you become? Your imagination is the creative force behind everything you experience in life. It is far more powerful than the external circumstances or the material wealth you think you need. When you truly grasp this, you realize that money, possessions, or status are not the ultimate keys to unlocking your desires. Instead, it is the thoughts, feelings, and beliefs you hold within your mind that shape the reality around you. Your imagination is the very essence of creation. It is the place where your reality is born. Consider for a moment that everything in your outer world is merely a reflection of your inner state. The house you live in, the relationships you experience, the job you hold, and even the money you earn are all the outward expressions of the images and feelings you have impressed upon your subconscious mind. When you understand this, you realize that the source of all material circumstances lies within you. The world cannot act independently of the state of your mind. It must conform to the beliefs you hold about yourself and your life. If you constantly imagine yourself limited by a lack of resources or trapped by the need for money, then your world will reflect that very belief. You will find yourself in situations where money feels like a barrier, a restriction that prevents you from living fully. But the moment you shift your focus away from the idea that money controls your life and instead place your attention on the infinite creative power of your imagination, everything changes. You step into a realm where your desires are not dictated by what you think you can afford or by the limitations imposed by the outside world. To live as though money is no object is to fully embrace the idea that what you imagine and feel to be true in your mind will manifest in your life. When you persist in the conviction that your desires are already yours, the material means by which they come into being will reveal themselves effortlessly. It is not your job to worry about how. Your responsibility is simply to live in the state of fulfillment, trusting that the world will rearrange itself to align with the vision you hold in your mind. Your imagination is the master architect of your life, and it holds a power far greater than anything the material world could offer. Scarcity is an illusion that holds many in a grip of fear and limitation, preventing them from realizing the boundless abundance that exists within and around them. The belief that there is not enough, that resources, opportunities, or wealth are limited is deeply ingrained in society, but it is entirely false. The idea of scarcity is born from a mindset that assumes the outer world dictates what is possible, that wealth is something external, finite, and difficult to attain. However, when you understand the true nature of reality, you see that abundance flows from within, not from the external world. The feeling of lack and limitation stems from identifying yourself with the physical world, with the idea that you are subject to its restrictions. This creates a sense of separation from the infinite source of supply that is always available to you. The truth is that everything you could ever desire already exists in potential form, waiting for you to claim it through your consciousness. Scarcity only exists when you believe in it, when you allow fear and doubt to cloud your perception of the infinite possibilities before you. The moment you shift your awareness from lack to abundance, the world responds in kind. Most people live their lives seeking wealth, working tirelessly to accumulate more money, more possessions, and more status, thinking that by doing so, they will secure their share of a limited pie. But in this pursuit, they often lose sight of the truth that abundance is not something to be chased. It is something to be realized. The external world cannot give you what you do not first accept within yourself. It is not about how hard you work or how much you struggle. It is about aligning your inner state with the reality of abundance. When you free yourself from the illusion of scarcity, you step into a world of limitless potential. You begin to realize that there is no competition, no lack, and no need to fear. What you desire already exists, and it will come to you naturally when you no longer believe that you are separate from it. By shifting your consciousness to one of abundance, you open the floodgates of prosperity. The outer world is a reflection of your inner beliefs, and when you release the fear of scarcity, you will experience the effortless flow of wealth, opportunities, and fulfillment. Living from the end means shifting your focus entirely to the feeling of already having your desires fulfilled, rather than worrying about how those desires will manifest. This concept is key to understanding how creation works in your life. Most people spend their time and energy focused on the means to achieve their goals, how the money will come, what steps they need to take, or how circumstances must align. They become fixated on the process, forgetting that the process will naturally unfold when they align their consciousness with the end result. To live from the end is to embody the state of already being the person who has what they desire. It means you no longer think about whether something will happen or how it will happen. You move directly to the feeling of it already being so. This mental and emotional state creates a powerful shift within you. Instead of living in doubt, fear, or uncertainty, you live in the certainty that your desire is already yours. The outer world, which is merely a reflection of your inner state, must conform to this new belief. When you live from the end, you understand that the how is not your concern. The mind that is constantly worrying about how something will happen is operating from a place of lack and disbelief. But when you focus on the end, on the feeling of already having your desires, you are operating from a place of fulfillment. This shifts your entire energy, and the world responds by bringing into your experience the circumstances, people, and events that align with your new state of mind. The means to your desires will naturally present themselves when you are living in the state of the fulfilled end. Think of it like this: if you want to experience wealth, imagine what it feels like to be wealthy now. Live as if the wealth you seek is already in your life. Feel the freedom, the ease, the joy that comes with financial abundance. When you do this, your thoughts, actions, and even the people you encounter will begin to reflect this state of being. The path to wealth, or any other desire, becomes clear when you no longer concern yourself with the details of how it will happen. Living from the end is about faith and conviction, knowing that the world must mirror the state you hold within. What you assume to be true in consciousness will inevitably become true in the physical world. Your inner dialogue, the constant stream of thoughts, conversations, and beliefs you hold within, is the foundation of your reality. It is this inner conversation that shapes the experiences you encounter in your life. whether you are conscious of it or not. Many people go through life unaware of the incredible power of their thoughts and words, believing that their circumstances are dictated by external forces. However, the truth is that your outer world is a direct reflection of what you tell yourself internally. To change your life, you must first change the dialogue within. The thoughts you repeat, whether consciously or unconsciously, form the beliefs that govern your actions, decisions, and ultimately your reality. If your inner dialogue is filled with doubt, fear, and limitation, then that is what you will see manifested in your life. You might tell yourself that you are not good enough, that success is hard to achieve, or that wealth is reserved for others. These subtle but powerful beliefs become the framework for how you experience the world. They create barriers where none exist, limiting what you believe is possible for you. To shift your reality, you must consciously shift your inner dialogue. Begin by becoming aware of the thoughts and words you are using in your everyday life. Are they in alignment with the life you wish to create, or are they reinforcing the very limitations you want to break free from? When you catch yourself thinking negatively or speaking about lack and failure, stop immediately and replace those thoughts with affirmations of abundance, success, and joy. By doing so, you begin to reshape the mental landscape that defines your life. This is not just about positive thinking, it's about retraining your subconscious mind to accept new beliefs that support your desires. Your subconscious mind doesn't argue or question, it simply takes whatever you impress upon it as truth and reflects it back to you in the form of your experiences. When your inner dialogue shifts to one of empowerment, abundance, and confidence, your subconscious begins to work in harmony with your desires. It brings about the opportunities, people, and circumstances that align with this new way of thinking. Consistency is key. As you persist in affirming the reality you want, you will notice changes in how you feel and how the world responds to you. Opportunities that once seemed out of reach will suddenly appear, relationships will transform, and challenges will dissolve. Your inner dialogue is the silent architect of your destiny. By changing it, you change everything. In conclusion, remember that your life is not bound by external circumstances, nor is it determined by money or material wealth. The true source of creation lies within you. Your imagination, beliefs, and inner dialogue shape your world. When you free yourself from the illusion of scarcity and live from the end, embodying the feeling of already having your desires, the means will naturally align to bring them into your experience. Shift your inner dialogue to reflect abundance, success, and fulfillment, and the outer world will mirror these new truths. Thank you for allowing yourself to explore this deeper understanding of reality. Trust in the power within you and watch as your life transforms. Turn your attention to the one realm that holds all power, your mind. You may look out at the world and see the shapes, the people, and events that seem to govern your life. Yet it is your mind that defines every experience, shaping and transforming your world with each thought. Reality is not something thrust upon you from the outside. Rather, it is a mirror reflecting the contents of your inner world. What you hold within your mind, in your beliefs, and in your imagination shapes every aspect of the life you live. When you look at your world, your circumstances, your relationships, and even your day-to-day experiences, you are not simply observing a random unfolding of events. You are witnessing the outward projection of your innermost thoughts and feelings. The mind is a powerful instrument, endlessly creating from the impressions it holds. Every thought, whether conscious or unconscious, contributes to the canvas of your life. Consider this: nothing you experience happens by mere chance or as the result of forces outside yourself. The people you encounter, the situations you navigate, and the conditions of your life are all expressions of what you carry within. This means that change in the external world must begin within. The universe merely gives form to what your mind entertains, meaning that if you want to alter your world, you must first attend to the world within you. Imagine for a moment that your mind is a fertile field, and every thought you plant grows into a tangible reality. Each thought is a seed that brings forth fruit in the form of your experiences. Hold thoughts of abundance, love, and well-being, and the world reflects them back to you as prosperity, connection, and health. Conversely, thoughts rooted in doubt, fear, or limitation will inevitably grow into obstacles, setbacks, and lack. The world is neutral, a pure reflector. It does not judge or filter what you bring into being, it merely amplifies and projects what you hold within. This understanding of reality opens doors to boundless possibilities. You are not at the mercy of fate or external conditions. Rather, you have the freedom to mold and shape your world simply by shifting the nature of your thoughts and beliefs. Your circumstances are pliable, responding with exquisite precision to what you truly believe is possible for you. The most profound changes occur not from force, but from consciously aligning your inner reality with the desires of your heart. By doing so, you unlock a higher dimension of life that responds to your intentions with a precision that many mistake for coincidence or luck. When you grasp this, you begin to understand the true nature of power. There is no need to struggle against the world, to force things to happen, or to rely on sheer will alone. Instead, allow yourself to focus within. Cultivate thoughts that serve your vision. Act as though the life you seek already exists in the realm of your imagination. See yourself as the person you wish to become. Assume the feelings of joy, gratitude, and fulfillment that accompany your desires and let them resonate within you. Reality, like a mirror, will take on the shape of whatever you reflect from within. Reality is a response, an echo of your inner state. When you tend to the mind with care and intention, life responds in kind, shaping itself to match the vision you hold. There is no need to search for change outside yourself. It is all within, waiting to be acknowledged, claimed, and embraced. Control over thought is the keystone to crafting a life of intentional creation. While the mind is always active, producing a steady flow of thoughts day and night, few realize that each thought contributes to the structure of their reality. To live deliberately, one must shift from passive thinking to an active, conscious choice of thoughts, for thoughts are the seeds that sprout into the experiences of life. Every experience, every situation that unfolds in the external world has its roots in the thoughts held in the mind. When you consciously guide your thoughts, you begin to take command over the direction of your life. Our minds can wander freely, replaying past events or projecting worries about the future. When left unchecked, the mind can be like an undirected stream, flowing wherever it is guided by habit or circumstance, often shaped by the influences of society or past conditioning. Yet, this autopilot mode can be transformed by a simple yet profound shift by taking conscious control over the thoughts that occupy your mental space. In this state of mindfulness, you become aware of each thought as it arises, asking whether it aligns with the vision of the life you want to lead. Thoughts of doubt, fear, or limitation may come, but with awareness, you have the power to gently redirect them toward thoughts of abundance, love, and possibility. Chosen thoughts are like precise brushstrokes on the canvas of life. Instead of random splashes of color, they create clear, defined images of your desires. For example, if you desire a life of peace and fulfillment, simply thinking about peace occasionally will not create it. Instead, you must consistently hold thoughts of peace. Envision a life where peace is a constant, and imagine how it feels, how it manifests in your daily experiences. This commitment to a specific thought pattern is what ultimately shapes your reality, as the mind begins to attract circumstances, people, and opportunities that resonate with that peaceful state. Furthermore, consciously controlling your thoughts requires practice and patience. The mind is accustomed to habitual patterns, and shifting them involves a deliberate effort. However, this is not a struggle, it is a practice of gentle redirection. Each time a negative or limiting thought arises, there is no need for self-criticism. Instead, acknowledge it and then let it go, replacing it with a thought that serves your greater vision. This process is transformative over time. The mind will naturally align with your desired thoughts, making positivity and possibility your default state. By assuming control over your thoughts, you step into the role of creator in your life. You no longer leave your fate to chance, allowing old patterns or fears to dictate the course of your experiences. Instead, you assume full responsibility for your inner state, knowing that as you think, so shall you be. When you consciously focus on thoughts of health, success, love, or joy, you send out an energetic call to the universe that resonates with these qualities. The world, ever responsive, mirrors these energies back to you. Controlling your thoughts, you empower yourself to be the architect of your life. You hold the key to your own transformation, and every thought, carefully chosen, becomes a building block in the reality you wish to create. By becoming the conscious observer and director of your mental landscape, you open the door to limitless potential and begin to experience life as a deliberate and joyful expression of your highest self. Thought is the architect of life, crafting every aspect of your experience with precision and consistency. Every thought you hold, no matter how fleeting, plants a seed in the fabric of your reality, forming the blueprint of your life. Your experiences, relationships, and the opportunities that arise are all products of this intricate design created by your mind. Though often overlooked or underestimated, thoughts have a profound influence, constructing the reality in which you live. To grasp the power of thought as an architect is to recognize that nothing you encounter is without a cause. The circumstances you face, the people you meet, and the challenges or blessings that come your way are not random occurrences. They are manifestations of the mental impressions you cultivate within yourself. Each thought is an energetic blueprint waiting to be realized in the physical world. This means that your thoughts about health, success, love, and even the self-image you hold are all expressions of the mental architecture you have built. When you view thoughts through this lens, you can see the immense power they carry to influence your destiny. Thoughts shape not only the events in your life, but also the ways in which you perceive those events. The mind filters reality based on the patterns you have set in place. If your predominant thoughts are rooted in optimism, gratitude, and possibility, you will find that even challenging situations seem manageable and filled with opportunities. Conversely, a mind steeped in negativity or fear tends to interpret the world through a filter of limitation and struggle. Thus, thoughts are not passive, idle things, they are active, foundational, shaping both the content of your life and the perspective through which you experience it. Imagine your thoughts as a series of architectural plans. Every thought you entertain frequently becomes more concrete in your mental blueprint, paving the way for physical experiences to follow. If you think persistently about abundance, success, and joy, you strengthen these structures within your life. Soon opportunities, relationships, and situations arise to support these intentions. The mind, like an artist, pulls together the resources of the universe to match the inner blueprint you have created. Taking conscious responsibility for your thoughts is an essential step toward a life of deliberate creation. It means that you are no longer a passive observer, subject to whatever comes your way. Instead, you become the designer, choosing thoughts that align with your highest desires. You no longer let stray or negative thoughts shape your reality unintentionally. Instead, you place each thought intentionally, like an architect building a grand and beautiful structure, knowing that each decision matters in the final outcome. When you understand thought as the architect of life, you realize that every detail of your world is molded by the content of your mind. You become aware that nothing is too small to be influenced by your inner world. In fact, it is in the details of your thinking that your greatest creations are realized. Whether you aspire to happiness, success, love, or peace, each thought, nurtured and consciously chosen, brings you closer to this reality. Thought is the blueprint, the silent architect guiding you toward the life you are continuously constructing. Recognizing the power of thought transforms the way you approach each day. Instead of reacting to life, you begin to engage actively with it, realizing that each moment presents an opportunity to lay a new foundation for the future. With thought as your guide and architect, you possess within yourself the tools to shape a life that reflects your deepest desires and highest aspirations. In honoring this power, you become the master architect of your reality, sculpting life into a form that resonates with the truth of who you are. Your self-concept is the key to transforming your life, for every experience, every outcome, and every aspect of reality is filtered through the beliefs you hold about yourself. Self-concept is the mental framework that defines who you believe you are. It includes your assumptions about your abilities, your worth, your potential, and your role in the world. Often this self-concept is shaped in early life through experiences, influences, and external conditioning. But as these beliefs solidify, they act as invisible boundaries, determining what you think is possible and dictating what you attract into your life. To transform your life, you must start by reshaping this internal framework. The good news is that your self-concept is not set in stone. It is malleable, capable of change, and open to reprogramming. This process begins by identifying the beliefs that no longer serve you. Most people have limiting beliefs that are deeply ingrained beliefs that tell them they are not smart enough, worthy enough, or capable of achieving their desires. These beliefs are often repeated so frequently, both consciously and subconsciously, that they become a part of your identity. But you have the power to rewrite this script, and doing so involves introducing new, empowering beliefs in place of the old ones. To reprogram your self-concept, start by visualizing the person you want to become. Create a clear and vivid mental picture of this new self, the version of you who has already achieved what you desire. Imagine how this version of you thinks, feels, acts, and responds to life. Engage with this vision as if it is already true. The mind does not differentiate between imagination and reality. It accepts the impressions you consistently present. When you repeatedly visualize yourself as this ideal version, you begin to reshape your self-concept, aligning it with a new reality. Affirmations can also play a vital role in this reprogramming. By affirming statements that support your new self-concept, such as "I am confident," "I am deserving of success," or "I am a magnet for opportunities," you imprint these ideas into your subconscious mind. Consistent repetition helps dismantle old, limiting beliefs and replaces them with new, empowering ones. The more you affirm these positive beliefs, the more naturally they integrate into your identity, forming the foundation for a new self-concept. Your self-concept is like a filter through which you perceive the world, and as you reprogram it, you will notice that your experiences begin to shift. People will respond to you differently. Opportunities that once seemed elusive will present themselves, and your actions will reflect your newfound self-assurance. When you hold a strong, positive self-concept, you naturally attract circumstances that confirm your beliefs, reinforcing this new identity in a positive cycle of growth and fulfillment. Reprogramming self-concept is a journey that requires patience and persistence. Old beliefs may resurface, but each moment presents an opportunity to reaffirm the new identity you are cultivating. In moments of doubt, return to the vision of your ideal self and renew your commitment to this new concept. Over time, this new self-concept will become the foundation upon which you build your life. In reprogramming your self-concept, you tap into an extraordinary power to transform your world from the inside out. As you change your beliefs about who you are, life aligns with this new reality, mirroring back the beliefs you hold. This journey of self-concept reprogramming is, in essence, the journey to self-mastery, unlocking limitless potential and allowing you to live as the fullest, truest expression of yourself. Guarding against negative influences is essential for cultivating a life of intention and positivity. Negative influences come in many forms, be it people, environments, thoughts, or media. Each influence that enters your mind has the power to shape your outlook, affect your beliefs, and ultimately influence your reality. Like a gardener protecting their plants from weeds or pests, you must carefully guard your mental space, choosing only those influences that serve to uplift and empower you. It begins with awareness of the types of influences surrounding you daily. Often people allow negativity to permeate their lives simply because they are unaware of its impact. Yet, every interaction, every piece of information, and every experience can either support or hinder your inner vision. For instance, consider the effect of people who consistently dwell on problems, criticize, or speak negatively about life. If you frequently expose yourself to such energy, it subtly infiltrates your mind, lowering your vibration and weakening your sense of purpose. Recognize when these patterns occur and consider whether these interactions align with the vision you hold for yourself. Guarding your mind also involves taking a closer look at what you consume through media and entertainment. The messages embedded in news, television, social media, and even music carry energy that influences your mindset, whether consciously or subconsciously. Violent news cycles, sensationalized gossip, or comparison-driven social media can all feed a negative outlook, heightening fear, jealousy, or discontentment. By limiting or curating what you consume, you maintain control over your mental environment. Choose media that inspires, educates, or aligns with your highest intentions, and notice how your energy and focus improve. Your thoughts are perhaps the most powerful influence of all. Negative thinking patterns can creep in quietly, often disguised as reasonable concerns or habitual doubts. If left unchecked, they begin to shape your self-concept and determine your outlook on life. Be mindful of thoughts that focus on lack, fear, or limitation, and work to replace them with affirmations that reinforce your goals. When a negative thought arises, consciously redirect it towards something constructive or uplifting. For example, if a thought of self-doubt appears, counter it by affirming your capabilities and recalling past achievements. This practice builds mental resilience, strengthening your ability to maintain a positive and empowered outlook even in challenging situations. Guarding against negative influences also involves setting boundaries with others. Some relationships, even if well-meaning, may be draining or unsupportive. It is not about rejecting or condemning others, but rather about honoring your energy and priorities. Politely limiting time with those who bring negativity into your life helps you protect your mental and emotional well-being. Surround yourself with people who encourage you, inspire you, and resonate with the path you are on. Positive relationships can serve as powerful allies, reinforcing your vision and keeping you aligned with your aspirations. The practice of guarding against negative influences is ultimately a commitment to your personal growth and happiness. By protecting your mind from unwanted negativity, you create a fertile environment where positive beliefs and aspirations can take root and thrive. This conscious curation of influences gives you the space to develop a clear, empowered mindset that acts as a solid foundation for all that you wish to create in life. When you take control of what enters your mental world, you find that life reflects this positive focus back to you. Opportunities align, energy increases, and obstacles diminish as you cultivate an inner space free from negativity. Guarding against negative influences is not about avoidance, but about deliberately choosing to surround yourself with that which serves your highest purpose. As you strengthen this practice, you become both the protector and creator of your reality, shaping a life filled with meaning, joy, and limitless possibility. In conclusion, remember that your mind is the foundation of everything you experience in life. Each thought you hold, each belief you nurture, and each influence you allow shapes the reality that unfolds around you. By consciously directing your thoughts, reprogramming your self-concept, and guarding against negative influences, you become the architect of a life aligned with your deepest desires and highest aspirations. Embrace this power within and live as a deliberate creator, knowing that the world around you will always reflect the world within you. Thank you for allowing me to share this message with you. Guarding the power of your inner world is the foundation of every experience you encounter in life. It is within this sacred, private realm that your true desires, thoughts, and intentions take shape before they emerge into the external world. Just as a precious treasure is shielded from those who might misuse it, your innermost aspirations, beliefs, and dreams deserve protection, for they are the seeds from which your reality unfolds. Each thought you entertain, each vision you hold dear, has a life of its own, capable of shaping and molding the experiences that will ultimately become your life's journey. To reveal these delicate threads of thought prematurely, or to cast them out to be judged, critiqued or influenced by others, is to scatter the very energy that fuels their manifestation. In the privacy of your inner world, the most powerful thoughts and visions are nurtured. They grow as silent, potent forces, moving without the need for validation or approval from the outside world. Every vision you hold within is yours alone, and only you understand its nuances, its unique appeal, and its purpose. When you guard these private aspirations, you honor the autonomy of your imagination, allowing it to shape freely and to grow without interruption. There is a peace in this guarded solitude that provides a fertile ground for creativity and inspiration to thrive without the intrusion of doubt or disbelief. This isn't merely about hiding your dreams from the eyes of others, it's about giving them the nurturing, silent space they require to grow untainted and undisturbed. Allowing your inner world to remain concealed has another significant effect. It fortifies your belief in yourself. When you keep your dreams and visions close, you reinforce the idea that the only validation you require is your own. There is no need to dilute your intentions by seeking approval or by questioning whether they align with what others expect of you. To allow your inner world to be your private sanctuary is to trust that your deepest, most genuine aspirations are worthy of being brought into reality simply because they are yours. This kind of unwavering faith in oneself draws upon an infinite reserve of strength and resolve, and it is through this quiet confidence that remarkable things are brought into the light of day. This is the essence of creative power, the inner certainty that fuels you, unaffected by the skepticism or opinions of others. When you keep your inner world protected, it is easier to hold on to the purity of your intentions. Every aspiration begins with an idea, a spark that stirs the imagination. This spark is as fragile as it is beautiful. It is easily affected by doubt, criticism, or even premature excitement. To share this spark prematurely is to expose it to the scrutiny of others who may not see its value or may not fully understand it. They may unwittingly project their own limitations onto it, casting shadows of doubt over what was once a clear, bright vision. But when you hold your aspirations within the sanctuary of your mind, they are allowed to develop without interruption. They are sheltered from judgment, safe from any influence that could diminish their intensity, and free to grow in their own time. In this way, they become robust, unshakable, and ready to emerge into the physical world only when they are fully formed and fortified. This practice of guarding your inner world is also a profound lesson in self-discipline. It requires restraint to refrain from sharing every detail of your journey with others, particularly when you are excited or filled with newfound inspiration. However, in cultivating this restraint, you strengthen your own relationship with yourself. Each time you choose to keep a vision or an intention to yourself, you are affirming that you alone hold the power to shape your destiny. It is an act of independence and self-respect, a reminder that you do not need others' perspectives to validate your own path. This is a path that you walk with quiet resolve, a journey shaped by your own beliefs, free from the noise and interference of the outside world. Guarding the power of your inner world allows you to remain adaptable and open. When your thoughts and dreams are not influenced by others, you are more able to adjust them as you go, to refine them, and make them more aligned with your true self. This adaptability is key, as it allows your intentions to evolve naturally, responding to the wisdom you gain over time without being altered by external pressures or influences. You are able to hold the reins of your own creative process, knowing that it is yours to shape and modify according to your innermost guidance. There is a freedom in this, a liberation from the constraints of external approval, and a deeper connection to the source of your own inspiration. The power of your inner world lies in its mystery. Just as a great artist or creator does not reveal every stroke or every detail of their masterpiece before it is complete, so should you guard the work you are creating within yourself. There is a unique power in silence, in the unspoken dreams that are nurtured and developed in solitude. When you protect this power, you give it the freedom to grow in its own time, unencumbered by the limitations or expectations of others. And when it finally emerges into the world, it does so with a strength and authenticity that only comes from having been born in silence and nurtured in solitude. To guard your inner world is, ultimately, to honor the divine creativity within you. It is to acknowledge that the most meaningful aspects of your journey are not meant to be shaped by anyone but you. By holding your dreams close, you are embracing the true essence of self-mastery. In this sacred silence, you find not only the strength to bring your visions to life, but also the peace to enjoy the journey, knowing that your life's creations are the product of your own inner world, undiluted and unbroken. And as you guard this precious inner sanctuary, you create a life that is uniquely, powerfully, and undeniably yours. The desire for validation from others is a common yet deceptive impulse that can subtly take hold of the mind, often leading us further away from our true self. Validation is not inherently wrong, yet it is all too often a hollow substitute for genuine self-belief. Many people seek external approval to confirm the worth of their thoughts, goals, or even their very identity. In doing so, they give power to the perceptions of others, allowing outside influences to dictate how they see themselves. This dependence on validation can create an endless cycle of seeking and never quite finding, leaving one feeling both vulnerable and incomplete. When we understand the illusions that validation can bring, we begin to recognize that the only validation that truly matters comes from within. One of the most profound illusions of validation is that it creates a false sense of confidence, built upon the fleeting opinions of others. When we rely on external praise or acceptance, we place our sense of self-worth in the hands of those who, at any moment, can withdraw their approval. As soon as the praise is removed, or when criticism replaces it, the confidence we felt can easily fade, leaving us uncertain once more. Relying on validation from others is akin to building a house on sand. It may appear stable for a time, but it lacks the strength to withstand even the smallest shift in circumstances. True confidence, however, is unwavering because it is self-sustained. When we cultivate a belief in ourselves that does not require outside reinforcement, we develop a resilience that can endure any storm, any criticism, and any fleeting disapproval. This desire for validation often leads to a misalignment of priorities, distracting us from our authentic path. Many find themselves pursuing goals that are not truly their own, molded by what they think others expect or admire. When we are driven by the desire for approval, we begin to sacrifice our own values, compromising who we are to fit into molds that may have nothing to do with our true self. Instead of striving for what genuinely resonates with our innermost being, we adjust our actions and beliefs to please or impress others. This shift, though subtle, is a betrayal of our inner world. We lose touch with our genuine aspirations, feeling disconnected from our true purpose and becoming increasingly lost as we search for fulfillment through external approval. Yet genuine fulfillment arises only from living authentically and pursuing goals that stem from a deep inner conviction, rather than the expectations or opinions of others. Another illusion of validation is the sense of safety and belonging it seems to provide. Approval from others may feel comforting. It may give the impression that we are accepted, seen, and understood. But this sense of belonging is often shallow, relying on maintaining a certain image or satisfying certain conditions that others impose. This conditional acceptance is fragile, and as soon as we deviate from what others approve of, we risk losing that acceptance. True belonging, however, is found in self-acceptance. When we embrace ourselves fully, we discover an unshakable foundation within, a place where we feel at home, no matter what others think or say. In this sense of self-acceptance, we can truly connect with others, not out of a need for validation, but from a place of genuine connection, grounded in our authentic self. The pursuit of validation can also breed comparison and competition, as we begin to measure our worth against the accomplishments and opinions of others. This comparison only leads to dissatisfaction, for it is an endless cycle that keeps us focused on what we lack or what we have not yet achieved. Each time we compare ourselves, we diminish our own unique strengths, belittling the journey that is ours alone. The truth is that no two paths are meant to be the same, and comparing our journey to others only serves to distract us from our own growth. When we seek validation, we start to see others as competitors rather than fellow travelers on the same journey. This mindset narrows our view, blinding us to our own potential and restricting the growth that could otherwise come from focusing on our unique path. When we release the need for validation, we free ourselves to celebrate our individuality and to appreciate the journey of others without feeling diminished by it. At its core, The illusion of validation is a belief that we are incomplete or unworthy unless someone else affirms our worth. This belief undermines our true power, keeping us bound to a cycle of dependence that leaves us ever more disconnected from our own sense of self. Yet in reality, we are complete as we are, inherently worthy without any need for external validation. When we realize this, we liberate ourselves from the endless chase for approval. This realization brings us back to ourselves, allowing us to act, create, and live in alignment with who we are at our core. By finding our worth within, we break free from the need to prove ourselves to anyone. Our value, our purpose, and our identity are self-defined, needing no endorsement from the outside world. As we step away from the illusions of validation, we create a space within where our self-worth is no longer conditional, no longer vulnerable to the opinions or judgments of others. In this space, we find an inner stability that remains unshaken, even when the world around us does not provide the approval we once sought. This shift allows us to live authentically, free to pursue our true passions, unencumbered by the fear of rejection or disapproval. We become empowered to express ourselves boldly, without hesitation, knowing that our worth is intrinsic and eternal. The path to true fulfillment begins within, as we free ourselves from the illusions of validation and embrace the fullness of who we are, independent of outside praise or acceptance. In doing so, we reclaim our power, standing firm in our own truth and living in harmony with our deepest sense of purpose. The kind that happens quietly within is perhaps the most transformative and enduring form of progress. In a world that places emphasis on outward achievement and instant results, we often overlook the value of silent, gradual development that takes place away from the spotlight. This unseen growth, though invisible to the outside world, is what ultimately forms the foundation of real, lasting change. It is subtle, slow, and often feels unnoticed, yet it builds the strength of character and resilience that shape the deepest parts of who we are. Just as a tree's roots expand and strengthen underground before it reaches great heights, the growth that happens quietly within us serves as the true source of our personal power. When we allow growth to happen outside the demands of public scrutiny, we preserve its purity. Growth that is constantly showcased is often influenced by the judgments, opinions, and expectations of others. The need for validation or the pressure to perform can affect the authenticity of our progress, subtly bending it to align with what we believe others want to see. But growth that happens unseen remains ours alone. It is untouched by external demands, free to unfold in its natural rhythm, and unburdened by the pressure to conform. In this way, unseen growth preserves our individuality, allowing us to transform in ways that are true to our inner being rather than shaped by the world around us. This unseen growth also grants us the freedom to experiment, to explore new ideas and perspectives without fear of judgment or failure. Growth, by its very nature, is a process of trial and error. It involves making mistakes, learning, adjusting, and moving forward. When our development is private, we are more willing to take risks, to learn from our experiences, and to challenge ourselves in ways we might not if we felt we were constantly being observed. There is a sacredness in this solitude that allows us to be vulnerable and to explore parts of ourselves that may be unfamiliar or unrefined. It is through these quiet, unobserved experiences that we gain the insights and understanding needed to shape our lives more fully. Another powerful aspect of unseen growth is that it builds inner resilience. Growth that takes place quietly, without the need for external affirmation, roots itself deep within our character. Because it is not dependent on praise or recognition, it becomes self-sustaining. It does not waver in the face of criticism or doubt, because it was not built to please others. This type of growth is like an unshakable foundation, strong and reliable, because it has been formed under the pressure of personal challenges and sustained by inner conviction. Resilience born from unseen growth allows us to withstand the trials of life, knowing that our strength comes from a place that no external force can shake. Growth is also significant because it requires patience, and in this patience we develop discipline and a greater understanding of time. In a culture that often demands instant gratification, unseen growth reminds us that real transformation does not happen overnight. Just as a seed takes time to become a towering tree, genuine growth requires time, persistence, and trust in the process. This patience is a quiet strength, teaching us to let go of urgency and to have faith in the unfolding journey. It is a discipline that helps us stay committed to our path, even when the results are not immediately visible. In this way, unseen growth becomes a teacher, showing us that the most valuable changes often take the longest to manifest. This quiet growth also fosters a profound sense of self-awareness. When we are not distracted by the need to present our progress to others, we become more in tune with our own experiences and emotions. Unseen growth is an introspective process. It invites us to look within, to examine our motivations, and to understand our own thoughts and feelings. As we grow quietly, we gain insights that are unique to us, learning what truly matters and what does not. This self-awareness becomes a guiding force, helping us to navigate life with greater clarity and purpose. We learn to trust ourselves more deeply, relying on our own intuition rather than on external feedback. This connection to our inner self is one of the greatest gifts of unseen growth, as it anchors us in a sense of self that is both authentic and resilient. Unseen growth often goes uncelebrated because it lacks the visible milestones or achievements that society typically rewards. Yet it is precisely this quiet, private growth that sustains us over the long term. While public accomplishments may come and go, unseen growth remains with us, continuously shaping who we are. It prepares us for life's challenges, deepens our understanding, and strengthens our resolve. This growth is not concerned with recognition or acknowledgement. It is concerned only with the journey of becoming more aligned with our true selves. In this way, unseen growth becomes a powerful force, moving us closer to a life that is not only successful, but also deeply fulfilling. This journey of unseen growth is one of profound self-discovery, revealing layers of strength, wisdom, and resilience we might never have known existed within us. It reminds us that our greatest transformations are often invisible, taking place in the depths of our own being. As we honor this quiet process, we discover a new depth of inner peace and a strength that can weather any storm. This unseen growth is not just a path of personal transformation, it is the foundation upon which a truly meaningful and purposeful life is built. In the end, it is not the outward signs of success that define us, but the quiet, unseen growth that has shaped who we are and who we continue to become. In a world driven by constant communication and sharing, there is often an unspoken expectation to explain our intentions, goals, and dreams to others. We feel compelled to justify our decisions or to lay out our plans in detail, seeking approval, understanding, or validation from those around us. Yet, in doing so, we often dissipate the very energy needed to bring those plans to life. Each time we explain ourselves unnecessarily, we divert energy that could be channeled into taking real steps toward our objectives. True progress, however, does not require an audience, it requires action. When we choose to reserve our energy for action rather than explanation, we harness a power that is focused, undiluted, and aligned entirely with our goals. Taking this approach requires a shift in mindset, a letting go of the habit of oversharing or seeking approval. It involves trusting oneself deeply, knowing that our journey does not need to be validated by anyone else in order to be meaningful or successful. When we choose action over explanation, we step into a place of self-reliance, finding fulfillment in the progress we make rather than in the recognition we might receive. This internal validation, grounded in the quiet satisfaction of knowing we are doing the work, becomes a far more reliable and enduring source of encouragement than any praise or approval from others could ever provide. It allows us to stay focused, driven by our own sense of purpose rather than by external expectations. Reserving energy for action also preserves our creativity and problem-solving abilities. Each time we expend effort explaining or justifying, we are using mental and emotional resources that could be better applied toward creative solutions or practical steps. Explaining ourselves frequently requires packaging our ideas into forms that are palatable or acceptable to others, which can subtly influence or even dilute our original intentions. By keeping our energy directed toward action, we retain a clarity of purpose that is essential for innovation. Our creative process remains undisturbed, allowing us to explore ideas and possibilities without feeling the need to conform to others' expectations. This freedom is invaluable, as it permits us to fully realize our vision without compromise or distraction. Another significant benefit of reserving energy for action rather than explanation is that it helps us maintain a sense of focus and alignment with our true intentions. When we spend too much time explaining ourselves, we open the door to external opinions, which can create confusion or even lead us away from our path. Others may have ideas about what they think we should be doing or how they believe we should pursue our goals, yet their perspectives are based on their own experiences and beliefs, not on ours. By keeping our focus on action, we create a buffer that shields us from these potentially distracting influences, allowing us to remain true to our own vision. This unwavering focus is essential for achieving meaningful, authentic success. This principle also encourages a humility that is often overlooked in our culture of self-promotion. There is an inherent modesty in allowing our actions to speak for themselves. By choosing not to explain ourselves, we demonstrate a quiet confidence that does not seek validation from the outside world. This humility is a strength, as it fosters a sense of inner calm and contentment that cannot be shaken by the need for approval. In choosing action over explanation, we embrace the idea that our worth and our success are not measured by others' understanding or acknowledgement, but by the fulfillment we feel in living in alignment with our values and purpose. The choice to reserve energy for action rather than explanation is about creating a life that is driven by inner fulfillment rather than external validation. It is about building momentum that is self-sustaining, powered by our own commitment, rather than by the fluctuating opinions of those around us. This approach allows us to grow and evolve on our own terms, to pursue our dreams with a sense of focus and purpose that is resilient and unwavering. By choosing action, we honor the journey itself, finding satisfaction not in how others perceive our progress, but in the quiet, steady movement toward our own vision. This reserved energy becomes the fuel that carries us forward, a source of strength that is untouched by doubt or distraction. Unrevealed desires, those cherished aspirations we keep quietly within, often flourish more easily than the ambitions we openly declare. The moment we share our desires with others, they can become entangled in a web of external expectations, judgments, and unsolicited opinions, which can weigh them down and create unforeseen resistance. By keeping certain aspirations unrevealed, we protect them from the disruptive influence of outside forces, allowing our intentions to grow freely in the soil of our own belief and conviction. In the quiet of our hearts, these desires remain untouched by doubt and comparison, free to take root and develop naturally, nourished solely by our commitment to them. One of the reasons unrevealed desires meet less resistance is that they are shielded from the need for validation. Once we voice our aspirations, there's often an instinctive desire to receive approval or acknowledgement, consciously or unconsciously seeking validation from those around us. Yet, this need for external affirmation can dilute the purity of our intentions. It subtly shifts the focus from fulfilling the desire itself to meeting the expectations or standards of others. When we keep our dreams unrevealed, we remain unburdened by these external pressures. Our energy stays centered on the goal itself, rather than on how others perceive our progress or success, fostering an atmosphere where our desires can thrive, driven purely by our own passion and vision. Keeping desires private also allows us to avoid the inevitable comparisons that arise when goals are shared openly. When we announce our aspirations, they often invite unsolicited comparisons to the achievements or experiences of others. Each comment or suggestion, however well-meaning, can introduce doubt, casting shadows on our original intentions and leaving us wondering if our path is valid. This can create a subtle, yet powerful resistance that slows our progress and clouds our focus. By holding our desires close, we preserve our sense of self-assurance and focus on the uniqueness of our journey, free from the influence of other people's opinions or accomplishments. We remain connected to our authentic motivations, giving us the resilience to keep moving forward. Unrevealed desires also provide a sense of freedom from self-imposed deadlines and pressures. Once a goal is shared, we often feel obligated to achieve it within a certain time frame, as if we owe it to those who know our aspirations to reach them by a particular date. This urgency can create an unnecessary pressure that hinders progress, making us feel rushed or overwhelmed. When we keep our goals private, we allow ourselves the freedom to grow at our own pace, following our own rhythms without feeling compelled to meet external expectations. This freedom fosters patience, allowing us to appreciate each step of the journey without feeling burdened by an arbitrary timeline or the fear of falling short in the eyes of others. Unrevealed desires often align more closely with our intuition, allowing us to cultivate a connection to our inner guidance that leads us more effortlessly toward our goals. When our desires remain private, we are less influenced by logic alone and more inclined to trust our instincts. Without the interference of outside voices, we can tune into our own intuition, noticing subtle cues, feelings, or ideas that guide us in the right direction. This intuitive alignment creates a sense of ease and flow, reducing the resistance that often arises from trying to follow a path that others may suggest or recommend. By listening to our intuition, we find ourselves moving in harmony with our deepest desires, fueled by an inner knowing that transcends the need for external input. To keep our desires unrevealed, we create a sanctuary within ourselves where our aspirations are free to grow without interference. This quiet, focused space allows us to nurture our dreams with patience, intention, and self-trust, enabling us to progress without the weight of external pressures or expectations. It is in this space that we find true freedom and resilience, empowered by the knowledge that our desires are grounded solely in our own authentic vision. Unrevealed desires meet less resistance because they are protected by the strength of our inner conviction, growing steadily and quietly until they are ready to bloom fully, witnessed by the world only once they have become an undeniable reality. Fulfillment is a rare and powerful state, one that defies the need for outward recognition and thrives instead on the quiet joy of inner contentment. In a world that values loud achievements, public successes, and visible progress, the idea of fulfillment that doesn't seek an audience is often overlooked. Yet, silent fulfillment is one of the purest forms of personal satisfaction, emerging from an inner alignment that needs no validation. It is born from living in harmony with one's true values and purpose, a quiet but potent force that fuels lasting contentment and a deeper sense of self. Mastering the power of silent fulfillment can transform not only the way we approach our goals, but also the quality of the happiness we derive from them. At its core, silent fulfillment is about finding joy in the journey rather than in the recognition of the destination. When we set out on any meaningful path, whether in personal growth, relationships, or career ambitions, the most rewarding moments often happen in solitude. These are the moments when we realize we're progressing, growing, or overcoming a challenge, not because others are watching or applauding, but because it aligns with our values and desires. In silent fulfillment, our satisfaction comes from within, independent of others' opinions or acknowledgement. This form of fulfillment allows us to connect with ourselves on a deep level, unclouded by the expectations of the outside world. We are free to move forward on our own terms, experiencing joy that is rooted in our own authenticity, rather than in any form of external validation. Mastering silent fulfillment requires a conscious shift away from the need for recognition and an embrace of intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation is the internal drive that propels us toward goals, because of the pleasure or meaning they bring to us personally, not because they might be celebrated or rewarded by others. Silent fulfillment thrives on this internal compass, allowing us to pursue goals that genuinely matter to us, regardless of how they may appear to others. By focusing on intrinsic motivation, we learn to measure success by the depth of our own experience, by the growth we achieve, and by the sense of peace we cultivate along the way. In this way, we move beyond superficial achievements and begin to value the subtler, often invisible progress that forms the foundation of a fulfilled life. Fulfillment also enables us to protect our personal journey from the influences of external judgment. The moment we seek acknowledgement from others, our pursuit of fulfillment can become entangled in others' expectations, often creating unnecessary pressure or stress. This shift from inner focus to outer validation can dilute the satisfaction we derive from our achievements, replacing the joy of personal progress with the anxiety of meeting standards that aren't truly ours. In contrast, silent fulfillment keeps us grounded. By seeking fulfillment quietly, we retain control over our own journey, shielding our dreams and goals from being shaped by others. We become less susceptible to comparisons or judgments, finding freedom in the knowledge that our joy is ours alone to experience, safe from the scrutiny or influence of others. One of the greatest benefits of silent fulfillment is the resilience it fosters. When we derive satisfaction from within, we cultivate a strength that doesn't waver in the face of challenges, setbacks, or criticisms. Because our fulfillment is not dependent on outside validation, it remains stable and enduring, even in difficult times. This inner resilience allows us to continue on our path, focused and undeterred, finding fulfillment in the process rather than being overly attached to specific outcomes. Silent fulfillment teaches us to trust in the journey itself, knowing that our happiness is not dependent on others' opinions or on any particular result. We develop an inner fortitude that helps us navigate life's obstacles with grace and patience, grounded in a sense of peace that cannot be shaken by temporary setbacks or failures. Silent fulfillment also nurtures a sense of humility. When we are no longer driven by the desire to showcase our achievements, we create space for gratitude and appreciation for the journey. Humility allows us to recognize that fulfillment is a gift, something we experience by living in alignment with our values rather than something we achieve. By practicing silent fulfillment, we are reminded that life's most meaningful moments are often quiet and private, shared only between ourselves and the experiences that shape us. This humility fosters a deep appreciation for the simple joys in life, grounding us in a perspective that sees the beauty in the small victories and in the steady, sometimes unseen growth we experience each day. In mastering the art of silent fulfillment, we find a path to lasting joy, resilience, and true alignment with ourselves. By focusing inward, we protect our dreams from external expectations, enabling them to grow freely. We build a source of inner strength that remains steady, grounded in self-trust and humility. Silent fulfillment frees us from the need for recognition, allowing us to pursue our unique desires and live authentically. This quiet satisfaction is unshaken by the noise around us, reminding us that the most meaningful victories often come in solitude. With each step, we cultivate a life rich in purpose and deeply satisfying on our own terms. Thank you for allowing me to share this reflection on the power of silent fulfillment.